Hello, I'm here with the African Director for Genocide Prevention at the Christian Solidarity International, Switzerland, Dr. Onyemechi Obunweze. Welcome to the show. Starting with the most pressing, I would say, is the Pantami story. I believe you've been following that, Prof, the whole Pantami issue. So I'd like to ask, what do you think about the way Gbajabiamila, the speaker, handled the situation?
Actually, the situation today is quite unfortunate that Pantami is still in office as a minister. If the man has honor and integrity, he should have resigned long ago. He doesn't need anybody to tell him to resign. It's equally a stain on our National Assembly, which has this culture of asking many nominees to take a bow and then leave, which is to say that we are in danger in this country, that we can equally have somebody smuggled in, a Manchurian candidate, to be a minister of such a sensitive portfolio. So which is to say, our DSS, our police, they never scrutinized this guy. So how can we trust this security apparatus to keep us safe? Since they could let somebody who has such extremist views pass through their sieve. But Jamila dismissing Ndiulor Lumelo's position because it was brought under orders of privilege. Yeah, he has a right to do that. But the point lies in the fact that the National Assembly, especially the House of Reps and the Senate, should be ashamed of themselves for letting such a thing happen, for letting such a candidate pass through without even scrutinizing him well. Because we cannot trust this National Assembly to have our interests at heart. It's their mistake. So they should find a way to correct it. This man should leave office. Our president should equally do something here because the buck stops at his desk. That man is serving at his pleasure. So he should do something and ask for the man's resignation. He has no business being our minister.
Okay, still speaking about insecurity, let's talk about banditry. Do you think it's a viable option to keep negotiating with bandits? Would this solve the problem? If not, what exactly do you suggest or do you think would put an end to banditry for good?
Well, there's this popular thing that the State of Israel used to say, or the Americans used to say, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Once a state makes that move of negotiating with terrorists, it leads to state failure, which means you've surrendered your sovereignty to a bunch of ragtag riffraffs. They are the ones determining how you run your country. It's unfortunate, but for me, because lives are on the line, I will keep all options on the table. I understand how difficult it is to face insecurity in a country like Nigeria. But the point lies in the fact that Al-Mustafa or Abacha's man used to say that once an insurgency or insecurity lasts 2 days, that the government knows everything about it. Sometimes it's the view of a lot of people that our government knows a lot about this than is given vent to.
As the African Director for Genocide Prevention, because I believe that's what you're here for, to do work regarding all of that, what are your projections for Nigeria in the coming years, say the next 5 years, based on how things are going at the moment?
I am afraid. I have to say that I am very much afraid. The indices that I am seeing doesn't bid so wonderfully well for Nigeria. Nigeria is a boiling pot. Nigeria is a genocide waiting to happen. If we don't arrest this situation right now, and I hope the security of our forces are aware of what is happening. Nigeria is a genocide waiting to happen. The agitations, the sense of injustice, the sense of being aggrieved by the center. It's happening in the southwest, it's happening in the southeast, it's happening in the middle belt, it's happening everywhere. The Fulani headsmen are murdering people all around, and nothing is being done to stop that. Boko Haram is still an insurgency in the northeast. What are we doing? People can no longer sleep in their homes. In Olo, in southeast Nigeria, we have this problem. We have unknown gunmen shooting policemen. If we start killing our police, who will be there to defend us? So it's boiling everywhere. And if we let this degenerate the way it's degenerating, Rwanda is going to be better. It's going to be like the antics of spoiled kids in comparison to what is going to happen to this country.
So what can be done to prevent this future you foresee for Nigeria?
Well, it is in our best interest that everybody rise to the occasion to see. We have to smell the coffee. Things are not the way they used to be. Nigerians are now waking up. The poor people are hungry and angry.
Do you think it's reasonable for us to still keep fighting for Nigeria to remain as a nation or to survive as a nation?
Well, I am not in the position to give that answer because I am just one person. This is what a national dialogue could solve. This is what a national dialogue will avail Nigerians the opportunity for them to decide. It's a democracy. If people want to decide for themselves, we should let them do that. Self-determination is a fundamental human right. So we should let the people speak for themselves, decide what they want to do, where they want to be in this federation, and what are the articles, what are the terms of a union. It's pretty important. If there are no terms, what about the minorities? They will always be treated like footmats by the majority. So we really need to, this is what a national dialogue that is pretty urgent that we start this dialogue immediately. We don't have to, we may have crossed the Rubicon at this stage. It may have been late in the day for this dialogue. This is what we should have done earlier than now. But I am afraid it may have been late.
What do you think can be done to restore people's faith in dialogue, and also what can be done to prevent a situation whereby this dialogue doesn't solve things, instead it makes it worse?
Well, if the dialogue makes things worse, then we should be ready to kill ourselves. Because the point is, Nigerians should be made to realize that the country is listing dangerously to starboard. The ship is sinking, and sinking rapidly. So if we don't arrest this downward slide, we are going to, blood will be flowing on Nigerian streets. The way I'm seeing this. Because people, like you said, people don't trust each other anymore. And then how can we arrest that? The only way to arrest that is to sit down and talk. Because every war ends on a table of surrender or a table of dialogue. We have to discuss it. So why must we fight before we talk? At the end, even if we kill ourselves, the people remaining will still sit down and try to draft articles of surrender on a dialogue table. So the reasonable thing that the reasonable man could do is to say, why should I kill my brother first before dialoguing? Why can't I dialogue now and then eschew spilling of blood because we disagree over political issues? It's about power. It's about, and power means everything. Power is the difference between life and death. And power is a very violent institution. Those who have it don't want to lease it. And those who don't have it want to get it. It's because we have this psychology of scarcity. Everything is scarce here. Opportunities are limited. And those who have this opportunity hoard it among themselves. And they don't want others to have access to it. We have to make Nigeria accessible to every Nigerian. We have to make the goods and the resources of this country accessible to every Nigerian, irrespective of where this person comes from, irrespective of who his father is or who his mother is, irrespective of if he is even a man or a woman. So these are the things that a civilized country has been able to do. We have had a history of war across time. But every society that has agreed to move itself forward learns to dialogue, because Nigeria is too heterogeneous. We can never agree on everything, but we can create common principles upon which a nation could work. That's what I think.
Is there hope at all? Do you have any hope in the possibility of us not getting to this point that you warn about?
I'm always hopeful. I'm a very hopeful person. That's what brought me to Nigeria, because of my hope that we could talk to alternative voices who are reasonable, who are moderate, so that they could start thinking about salvaging this country. I don't want Nigeria to go the way of Rwanda, because the amount of hate being spewed in the social media, we are weaponizing hate, we are militarizing hate against each other. We used to be brothers, we used to be in one country. And if it gets to that point, this is the stuff of genocide. Once we start militarizing and weaponizing hate and hateful rhetoric, you know, it leads inevitably to genocide.
So in your position as the African Director for Genocide Prevention, what have you done since you came back? You mentioned you've been speaking with people and all of that. What progress has been made since then?
Well, we have been listening to the people. We have been listening. That's why I am saying that this ship must have left the harbor. I've been listening to the people. I've been listening to their pain, to their sense of being denied justice. I've been listening across board. And never in my life, before this, I got this appointment, I was the director of the Africa department at the International Society for Human Rights. And Nigeria was a part of my work. I followed Nigeria. I know Nigeria inside out. Both theoretically and on the practical level. But I have never seen the amount of violent rhetoric that I'm seeing now, ever, since my 47 years of life.
Okay, so Prof, I would like to ask you what you think about Britain granting asylum to marginalized IPOB members, IPOB, yes, IPOB and, yeah, IPOB, MASOB and the rest. What do you think about all of that?
Well, every country has a right to determine its asylum policies. Like Britain is a sovereign nation, so I don't have a right to question their decision. It's their decision. So they are the ones to live with the consequences of whatever decision they make, like every other sovereign nation. So they have a right to do that. That's what I think.
And what's your opinion about Nnamdi Kanu's methods in his call for secession and for IPOB? Some people oppose his methods. Some are fully in support, saying what IPOB or what Biafra actually needs is someone like Nnamdi Kanu. Do you agree with his methods?
Well, I think what gave Nnamdi Kanu relevance is Nigeria, the injustice, and Buhari imprisoning him and then giving him relevance. So if the injustice goes away, he will lose relevance. So that's what we are fighting for. Let there be justice. Let justice be done. If justice is done, all these agitations will fizzle away. So Nnamdi Kanu seems to represent the voice of the aggrieved people down in southeast Nigeria. So I read about Sunday Igboho here somewhere in the west as well. So these are people who are aggrieved. Their people are being slaughtered. And then you don't ask somebody whose people are being slaughtered every day just to keep quiet and keep on singing Kumbaya. So that's the thing. That's where all these are tests to government failure. Because if the government is alive to its responsibilities, these agitations will not be there. So the government should wake up to its responsibilities, and the agitations will go away.
Thank you so much for chatting with us. It's wonderful what you're doing as the African Director for Genocide Prevention, and I hope that you're being in Nigeria and with everything that is being done, that there would actually be positive impacts and Nigeria will make a turnaround and head in a different direction, because like you said, there's little hope for us if we keep going in the direction we're going. Thank you for joining us. It's been wonderful, Prof, having you here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.